How's it going, guys? Necromancer Noob with a review video. Recently, as you guys know, Fallout has had a very big resurgence. I mean, we just got a next-gen update for Fallout 4. We had the Fallout show come out on Amazon, and I want to personally apologize to them because before anything came out, I was slandering this show. I was talking so much smack. I was looking at the photos and I was just thinking there's no way this can be good. And boy, did they make me eat my words. Thoroughly enjoyed the show. I was hooked from the first episode, and we're just going to be talking about it and give my review about it, and we're just going to talk about Fallout in general. So this is a Noobs review of Fallout, the Amazon TV series. If any of you guys like, consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 700 or even more. Don't forget to leave a like, and if you want, make sure to comment down below anything involving video games, Fallout, what you thought about the TV show, what you think about the resurgence of Fallout, and yeah, just anything along those lines. But let's get started. Now, right off the bat, you can tell I enjoyed the show, and I'm going to give my reasons as for why. And for starters, I just feel like they captured the essence of Fallout very well. I mean, when you think of Fallout, you think of a post-apocalyptic future where it's just a wasteland, there's monsters, there's raiders, radiation, you name it. You can tell that some stuff progressed with technology and some stuff was still stuck in the past, but there's just such a perfect mix between both of those worlds. And not to mention, there's always a good sense of goofiness and seriousness that comes along in the Fallout games, and the show just captured it beautifully. I mean, the first episode in, there's gore, there's violence, I'm laughing half the time, and I'm cracking up, along with just wanting to know what happens next. And this show, like many others, can go from the past to the present, explaining and going between different timelines, kind of just making sense of everything. And I never felt like I didn't understand what was going on. It always made sense to me, which is saying a lot because there are other shows which I just feel like don't pull that off properly. Like, it just gets way too confusing between the timelines and going back and forth. I feel like they did a very good job with the storyline and the plot, and not just the plot of the story. They stayed true to their roots with the video games. You could tell that they were up on the lore, that they understood the assignment and what they were doing, and they pulled it off very well. They stayed true to the series, which I'm just a big fan of. I mean, look at other shows like the Halo series that just really went on their own path, and you could tell because it's not it. They didn't do a very good job whatsoever. And not to mention, just talking about the characters in the show as well, I really did enjoy all of them, from Lucy to the Ghoul to Maximus. And I know a lot of people hated on Maximus, which I think is just unneeded hate. I know he's not the perfect character, but I think that builds a lot of character for himself. And without giving any spoilers away, I mean, you know, put yourself in Maximus's shoes. He came from nothing. He came from the bottom. He's been bullied and hazed basically his whole life and mistreated. Once you start getting a little bit of that sweet life and you start getting a lot of nicer things, of course you're going to be misusing that and, you know, just power abusing, which I think is going to be a normal characteristic for a lot of people. They just don't want to admit it. Overall, like I said, I really enjoyed all these characters. Even Thaddeus was just a lot of comedic relief, which I found him hilarious. I found a lot of these characters really funny and likable. Even the portrayal of Lucy, and coming from a very sheltered, closed-in life, the vault life, and just coming full front into the wasteland and having to figure out that a lot of her life was a lie, and slowly watching her turn into a, you know, badass like the game. Not to mention, when it comes to the show as well, while I was watching the first episode with my fiance, I did call what was going to happen, so I was happy about that. But for the most part, the show was always keeping me on my toes. I wanted to guess what would come next. You know, they just throw curveballs at you every other corner, and you just don't know what to expect, which is exactly like the Fallout games. I mean, you find a abandoned shack, you find a shelter somewhere, you find another vault that isn't the one you came from, and you never know what you're going to expect. Everything isn't exactly as it seems. I mean, watching this show with my fiance, she actually watched a few episodes ahead of me, and she was totally okay with just rewatching a lot of the episodes because she just loved it that much. Much needed praise for the show. I mean, you can put this up there with the other video game adaptation greats. I mean, it's up there with Arcane. I think they did a better job than the Last of Us TV show. Thoroughly enjoyed the first season, and I can't wait to see what they do next for the second season. The show did its own thing while staying true to the roots of the video game. The characters and actors did a great job. The story and plot was fun. There was a good sense of action, gore, blood violence, and comedy, and just everything that you expect to come with the Fallout as well. You know, I'm not one to give into hype before things come out, and like I said, I need to give them an apology because they made me eat my words. They did such a good job with this. If you're a fan of the video games, I highly recommend watching this. If you're a fan of action and comedy, I highly recommend watching this. If you're a fan of just post-apocalyptic sci-fi, just craziness, I highly recommend it. Good soundtrack to come along with the show as well, very reminiscent of the songs from 3 and 4. And as you can tell, I'm not the only person who thinks highly of this show, because clearly other people are thinking the same thing. Fallout player base has gone up significantly after the show has released. Fallout 76 just hit over 1 million players at once, which is a very big milestone for them. I mean, that game went from probably one of the most hated games ever to now it has some respect and a following. Same with just the Fallout games in general. I guess there's over like 5 million people playing at the moment, which is crazy to see because a lot of these games came out years ago, and let's just put it, they're not new games. Let's put it at that. And this is what the power of good press and notoriety does. I mean, you didn't see a big resurgence like this when it came to the Halo TV show, when it came to the Resident Evil TV show, the Sonic movies. I mean, you didn't see the player base of the video games jumping up drastically like you did with this Fallout show. It just shows how well it did, and it just shows that this is great press for them. I think this is well deserved for the Fallout series. But there's my review, guys. If I were to give this a rating, I'd probably give it a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10. Also, if you never played any of the Fallout games and want to jump into it, now's the perfect time. I highly recommend 4 since it just got the next gen update. But I think it's good to start with 4 and then work your way backwards. So probably give New Vegas a try after you give 4 a try. Give out Fallout 3 a try. And if you're really feeling Fallout, start going back to the older ones like 2, Tactics, you name it. But I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, comment down below what you thought about the series, what you think about all this going on with Fallout in general, or what games do you think deserve a TV show or movie adaptation. There's a few video games I can think of right off the bat, but I want to hear from you guys down below, so just let me know in the comments. But I hope you all have a good one, and I will see you guys in future videos. Bye-bye.